In this video we're going to look at how the mass changes during a chemical reaction. Here you can see some blue copper sulfate crystals in a crucible. We've already weighed the crucible, so the mass on the balance will tell us how much copper sulfate we've got. That's 1.50 grams. We now heat the crucible on a roaring blue Bunsen flame. This takes several minutes. After this time we remove the crucible and you can see that the contents have now turned white. We now leave the crucible to cool for a few minutes before weighing it again. And here you can see that the mass has changed. It's gone down to 0.93 grams. Why is this? Well, the blue copper sulfate crystals we started with are hydrated copper sulfate. This means the crystals contain water. The formula is shown on the screen. If you heat these crystals in a crucible, you drive off the water, leaving behind anhydrous copper sulfate, which is white or colourless. The symbol equation is shown below. The important thing is that the mass of anhydrous copper sulfate is less than that of the hydrated form because the water has been removed. In the next experiment, we're going to see what happens when we heat 0.16 grams of magnesium ribbon in a crucible made from 2 beer bottle lids. Here you can see the magnesium glowing red and then white inside the crucible as we heat it in the presence of air. After the reaction is finished, we can re-weigh the crucible, and in this case you can see there's an increase in mass. It's now 0.26 grams. Now the magnesium reacts with oxygen from the air to form magnesium oxide, as shown in the word and symbol equations on the screen. Now the key point here is that magnesium oxide has a higher mass than magnesium because it contains magnesium and oxygen particles. Hence we see an increase in the mass. And in our final experiment we're going to look at the reaction between sodium carbonate and hydrochloric acid. Now the mass on the balance, which is 52.22 grams, is the mass of the acid and the sodium carbonate added together. Now we pour the sodium carbonate into the flask containing the hydrochloric acid, and you can see a vigorous fizzing reaction takes place. You can also see that the mass now is lower than it was when we started. It's gone down to 51.48 grams, and it's still going down as we watch the screen. So why is this happening? Well, the sodium carbonate reacts with hydrochloric acid to form sodium chloride, water and carbon dioxide. And the key point here is that carbon dioxide is a gas. You saw how fizzy the reaction was as the carbon dioxide was produced, and this was because the carbon dioxide is escaping into the air. Because of this, the mass will decrease. So in summary, you've learned in this video about how the mass can increase or decrease during the course of a reaction and the reasons why.